How did you find the Syrian president?
Great. Right. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy.
Jolani, I don't even want to use the new rebranded, his new name, al Sharaa, because that is also a PR trick in a way to kind of keep the Western uninformed masses completely aloof as to what's going on in the country. But he's acting in his regime, his junta. By definition, it's a junta, not a government. They took power by force, under arms, and are comprised of many foreign fighters. So it's a junta.
Israel has crossed every single red line. It's no longer happy with the slow, brutal ethnic cleansing of Gaza or the unprovoked attacks on the sovereign nation of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Israel has now taken an even darker turn. It's shocking, but it's very strategic. Israel has chosen to empower terror itself in Syria.
Okay, you say no preference. There have been reports that Israel has been treating wounded Syrian rebel fighters in its hospitals on the border, including fighters from Nusra Front, which is of course the al-Qaeda proxy in Syria. Do those reports worry you that Israel's helping wounded al-Qaeda aligned fighters?
As I said before in a different context, it's always useful also to deal with your enemies in a humane way. And I think that when you have people who are wounded and you can deal with them in a humane way, the considerations as to whether to take them in are not simply whether it's politically useful or whether it's politically
So it's purely humanitarian. You see tactical issues involved. I mean, you know better than me the phrase blowback. You don't think there's going to be blowback against Israel if you get into bed with a group like Nusra Front?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be blowback.
Why?
Because I think that unfortunately the rules of the game in Syria are such that you can do anything that is not possible to be done anywhere else.
Ahmed al Sharaa, better known in the shadows as al-Jolani, a former commander of Al-Qaeda's Syrian branch, Jabhat al-Nusra, is Israel's guy in Syria. It's no mistake. There's no oversight. Israel knows exactly who he is. The Americans know exactly who he is. The Turks, the Saudis, the Qataris. They've been helping these Yankee jihadists in Syria against Bashar al-Assad.
غزة لم تكن يوما قضية. فلسطين هي القضية. وغزة تجسيد لجوهرها وتعبير صارخ عن معاناة شعبها.
And now that Bashar al-Assad is out of the picture, Israel can do what it likes. Jolani is not actually a complete puppet, but he certainly is a useful idiot, a pawn. You see, Israel's fierce airstrikes on Damascus show us that despite recent direct and indirect contacts between Israel and the Syrian regime, Israel doesn't trust the Syrian regime. Israel has repeatedly demanded the establishment of a demilitarized zone in Syria, in 3 southern provinces of Syria, which of course Jolani has rejected. Jolani has tried to appease Israel so many times. For example, on the 17th, al-Jolani stood before the world in a televised address and declared Syria has no intentions of going to war with Israel. But my dear friends, we've been following Israel for a long while on this channel, and we know Israel does not wait for war, it creates it. My dear friends, the man, Jolani, whose head was once valued at $10 million, the man whose hands are drenched in the blood of both civilians and warriors, has been reborn as a head of state. From al-Jolani to Ahmed al Sharaa. A change of name, but not of nature. He's an Al-Qaeda operative, and he's being received in capitals that kneel, not with power, but in submission and weakness towards America and Israel. It's no mistake. Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Qatar, they've presented Syria to Israel like a sacrificial lamb.
He's acting as a proxy. His policies align with Israel, his words align with Israel, his actions align with Israel and the United States' own goals. Therefore, he and his regime is by definition a proxy.
And as I said, he's not a complete Israeli puppet, but he's definitely a pawn. Israel may not control al-Shara directly, but it is undeniable that his regime, his ranks of Yankee jihadists, foreign fighters, Uyghurs, Turkmen and Takfiri fighters all serve one purpose. They benefit Israel.
نحن لا نطلب حماية إسرائيل. هذا الكيان لا يمكن أن يدافع عن أحد إلا عن كرامته وعن أمنه. إنما تقوم به عصابات التكفيرية، عصابات أحمد الشرع من ذبح وخطف واغتصاب للنساء ولبناتنا وحرائرنا. إن نحمل المسؤولية الأولى إلى حكومة إسرائيل. حكومة إسرائيل هي التي أتت بهذا جولاني، هي وأمريكا وتركيا والسعودية. جئناكم اليوم من أرض جليل، من أرض الكرمل، من أرض الجولان المحتل. جئنا قطعنا الحدود والأسلاك الشائكة رغما عن القوات الإسرائيلية.
Towards the end times, there will be years of deception. The liar will be believed, and the truthful will be called a liar. For several months, Israeli jets have rained fire on Syrian soil. Yet we hear Wahhabi, Salafi, Ikhwani, sectarian voices. Wahhabi preachers like Adnan al-Rashid and pseudo-intellectuals tell us Syria must seek peace and stability. They branded any call for resistance against Israel as Shia extremism. But when a Druze militia strikes back in Syria, suddenly my social media feeds are full of Wahhabi, Salafi Neanderthals calling for war, saying war is halal, but only in Muslim countries, never against Israel. By placing a known jihadist, Yankee jihadist in power, Israel has both prophetically and politically has cleared the way to bomb Syria, to bomb Damascus without restraint, to fulfill ancient designs and expand beyond.
אני מבקש לעדכן אתכם מה עשינו בסוריה ומה נעשה בסוריה. אנחנו קבענו מדיניות ברורה. פירוז המרחב דרומית לדמשק מהגולן ועד אזור הר הדרוזים. זה קו אחד. הקו השני, שמירה על האחים של האחים שלנו, הדרוזים בהר הדרוזים. שני הדברים האלה הופרו על ידי המשטר בדמשק. הוא שלח צבא דרומית לדמשק, לתוך האזור שצריך להיות מפורז, והוא התחיל לטבוח בדרוזים. את זה לא יכולנו לקבל בשום צורה. ולכן הנחיתי את צה"ל לפעול ולפעול בעוצמה.
And this is Netanyahu's final war. He knows, without war, his empire crumbles. His regime is out. Without war, he faces prison. His power will be stripped away by the very machine that lifted him up. A lot of Israelis actually know this themselves. The deep state has sealed his fate. And like Pharaoh, he marches into the sea of war, not to save his people, but to save himself. And what will happen, this new Syria under this Salafist, Wahhabist leader al-Jolani will fuel a global wave of Islamophobia. And Israel will find perfect cover, because the world will see the barbarism in Syria, and the world will point the finger at Syria and say, look, that's how Muslims behave. This is what needs to be stopped. The new Syria under Jolani gives perfect cover for Israel to get away with any crime it wants to commit. My dear friends, these signs of the end times are no longer warning signs, they are events. Damascus will tremble once more, and these prophecies that we were taught in our mosques, in our churches, in our synagogues, they're coming to life. And sadly, the final chapter will be written in fire, betrayal and blood. Assalamu alaikum, have a good night.